England. We all know the place. Horrible weather, invincible navy, immortal queen, and of course, everything tea. Wow, this tastes like shit. But when did this beloved nation start, and who was its first ruler? Now, if you read a lot of books or watched YouTube videos from even 10 years ago or a little bit before that, you would be convinced that it was William the Conqueror in 1066. But if you saw the title of this video, you probably know that that wasn't the case. So why? Why was for some reason William the Conqueror considered the first king of England for so long? Why was he considered the first king to ever rule England, despite the fact that England already existed and had already had 12 kings before he even came into the picture? So back in the day, England was part of the Roman Empire. However, after the Roman Empire fell, England would become involuntarily independent before being conquered by Germanic peoples called the Saxons and Angles, and they would give the land that they had conquered the name England. Just replace England with Britain anytime I said England before now, because this is when the England actually happened. Meaning land of the Angles and the Saxons, or land of the Anglo-Saxons. These people changed everything about England. They changed the culture, the language, the demographics, and even the ethnicity of England. That's right, most English people today are descended from these German settlers. So maybe you British can stop complaining that the Queen is German. So these Anglo-Saxons would eventually split England into multiple kingdoms ruled by various kings all within England. Now that we know the premise and foundation of England, the first king of England would have to be the person who unites all these kingdoms of England into one. So you might be thinking, for William to have been considered the first king of England for so long, he should have at least done this to some capacity. But you'd be wrong. Let me explain. Unification of England did not happen overnight. Several kings were instrumental to the unification of England. We will begin with Ecgbert. Is that in the script? I feel like I skipped a part. Oh man, that's right. I was supposed to start with all the conflicts and wars that happened before Ecgbert was even born. Sorry about that. So England began broken into several kingdoms. Obviously, this meant conflict. The northern parts of England would be engulfed in wars for dominance, which would see the southern kingdom of Wessex basically conquer all of South England under the kingship of Ecgbert. Or is that Ecgbert? I don't know, man. I'm just gonna call him Ecgbert. Alright, so this is where the official unification of England begins. Remember the Anglo-Saxons who basically formed England? Yeah, they were mostly concentrated in the south and midwest of England. The west of England had been invaded and conquered by Vikings. With Ecgbert conquering South England, he became one of the most powerful kings in England, and this brought him in direct conflict with the west of England. He and his descendants would continue to fight the Vikings with questionable levels of success. At least that was until Alfred the Great. You can tell he's different because he actually has a statue. Alfred was able to defeat the Vikings and actually conquer the last remaining Anglo-Saxon kingdom of Mercia, becoming the king of the Anglo-Saxons, because once again, the west of England was overrun by Vikings. Remember how I said for like the third time now that England was land of the Anglo-Saxons? Well, if Alfred was king of the Anglo-Saxons, doesn't that make him king of England? Well, no, of course not. Well, you see, while Alfred was indeed king of the Anglo-Saxons, he actually didn't control all Anglo-Saxon lands. He controlled only about half of them. The Vikings had the rest. The kingdom of Northumbria, all the way in the north of England, was still semi-independent, and so Mercia technically was also independent since Alfred didn't officially annex it but just ruled it as basically a separate kingdom. By the time Alfred died, England looked like this. His son Edward the Elder, who is actually a very underrated English king, began the annexation campaign, or at least he forwarded the annexation campaign. He annexed Mercia, pushed the Viking out of southeastern England, and then annexed it. Unfortunately, though, he was killed in a battle after putting down a revolt in Chester. He was succeeded by his son Æthelstan, who is basically the main character of the story. You know, like in an anime where the main character is introduced at the end of the series? Nothing? Okay, let's move on. Æthelstan was basically the James Bond of Saxon kings. He had to put down revolts in Wessex at the start of his reign. He subdued all the remaining Viking kingdoms, conquered Northumbria, and became the first king to rule all English lands, and as such, he was given a fitting title, King of the English. Pretty cool. But you know what's even cooler? Invading Scotland and basically subduing all of Great Britain, which makes Æthelstan kinda more like the John Wick than the James Bond of England, in my opinion. Now, you might be wondering, where does William fit into all of this? And the answer is he doesn't. There is no historical scenario in which William is the first king of England. He was not the first to conquer the south regions of England, that was Edgewood. He was not the one to conquer all the remaining independent Anglo-Saxon kingdoms, that was Alfred. He was not the first to rule over all England, that was Æthelstan. He was not even the first to bear the name King of England, that was Canute the Great. And if you don't know about Canute, just watch Vinland Saga. It's awesome, very crappy history, but awesome entertainment. So why is it that William, for such a long time, has been recognized as the first king of England, when this is not even slightly true? Well, it has a lot to do with society and perception. You see, William's conquest of England, just like the Anglo-Saxon conquest of England back in the day, changed everything about the nation. It changed the language, it changed the culture, it changed the nobility, it changed everything, right? It brought England very, very close to France and basically reshaped the country in a way that it could never go back to. This caused the future generation to become, kind of disconnected with the pre-Norman England, the pre-William England. They all wanted to be on the winning side of history, the side that actually conquered the realm, not the side that was conquered. This is one of the reasons why Edward Longshanks was crowned Edward the First and not Edward the Eighth, despite the fact that his father Henry named him after Edward the Confessor, whom he believed was an embodiment of what an English king was supposed to be. Edward Longshanks wanted to trace his ancestry back from the victorious Normans and not by the defeated Anglo-Saxons. And the rest of England just kind of followed suit. They always wanted to distance themselves and feel like the England that was formed or that was created after the conquest of the Normans was different from the England that existed before. But of course, this is not really true. It was still the same state. Sure, a lot of things changed about it, but basically it was still the same state. That's like saying that, I don't know, after the Germany was defeated in World War One and they became a republic and their government, their demographics just changed, that would make Germany a different country. No, that's not really, at least I don't think that's how it works. So Æthelstan is actually the first king of England, not William. And if any of you are British, please be sure to bring this up in any of your family dinners where you have a grandparent that still considers William the first king of England. Alright guys, that's it for this video. Thank you for watching. Feel free to like, share, comment, and subscribe. Please like, share, comment, and subscribe. I'll be coming at you with another video soon. I don't know when that's going to be, but I'll see you when I see you.